Chris. Welcome to Playing With Yourself. Today I'm going to be looking at Albin Viard's latest game, Brutus. Like all of his other self-published titles, it takes place in the world of Small City, a world of his own creation. If you're familiar with his games, you'll notice the similar colors that appear in all the other ones, the yellow industrial buildings, the blue commercial, the red leisure buildings, and the green residential buildings. If you're not familiar with Albin's work, that's fine. I'll go through what these buildings do in this video, so you don't have to worry. What I will say up front about Brutus is it's a fast-paced game. It plays in about 20 to 40 minutes, much faster than other Albin games that I've played. And in the game, your goal is to be an emperor who is trying to secure more finances and influence for themselves and become Brutus and be crowned king of the criminal underworld. What you'll be doing through your turns is using your emperor to move around and then place your Sicarii, which are your underlings. So how about I show you how this is played, and then we'll come back for my final thoughts. So the way that Brutus works is in a Okay, so here I have Brutus currently set up for a 3-player game. I have orange here, pink over here, and green down up here. What you're going to do in a 3-player or 2-player game is you're going to have 2 emperors, okay? Because it's hard to see the emperor's placement from a top-down angle, I'm going to be replacing them with some discs from another game. But they're a different color from the Sicarii. So in this scenario, or this overview, you should be able to follow the game. So what you do when you start is you're going to, in turn order, you're going to place one emperor of your color anywhere on the board in turn order. So let's say green places his here. And then red decides to place theirs here. And then yellow or orange places theirs here, and then you go back in reverse order, so yellow gets to place their second one, and then red will go here, and then green decides, well, this is fine. So you have now placed out your emperors, and that's how you set up the game. Then you go through 3 phases. The first is move your emperor. You must always move your emperor. The way that the emperor moves, it moves in an orthogonal direction. It can go this way, any number of spaces. It can go this way, any number of spaces. This way, this way, this way, and this way. So all 6 directions of the hex. So he decides to move here. Okay? So actually we'll have him here. And then what happens then is your emperor, and this is the color pink, what then you do is you take one of your Sicarii, and this is phase 2 of your turn, and your Sicarii, you're going to deploy one from your pool. And you're going to move him again, orthogonal direction from the emperor. So if you want, you can move this guy here, okay? And then the next person goes and they move their guy and they put out their Sicarii like so. The reason you're going to be putting out your Sicarii throughout the map is so that you can eventually wall off like a district, specifically with a residential green area, because the green will give you victory points at the end of the game. What each of these locations does depends on what type of building it is. But basically you're going to be moving your emperor around and then deploying Sicarii every turn. Okay? If you cannot move your emperor, or you've run out of Sicarii, your turn is over for the whole game. So you just end the game entirely for yourself. What these buildings do though, I'll go over. So each one provides a benefit. The yellow buildings, when you have your emperor there, the person, when your emperor is in the building, sorry, I'll switch that out. When your emperor is in the building, you can convert money. You do money laundering, you take the money and you pay the equivalent ratio that it shows on here. In this case, it says 2 for 1, where this one says 3 for 2. So that one's better. So you would then exchange $3 or $6 for 2 to 4 VPs or influence points, which are these. So yellow allows you to convert money into points, and the points are what matter at the end of the game. I will say that 10 points at the end of the game equals 1 influence point, so it's better to convert them in game than at the end of the game. So that's what the industrial buildings do. When you go over to commercial, in phase 3, after you have moved your emperor and deployed Sakari, sorry, that's illegal. After you have moved your emperor and deployed Sakari, you can collect revenue. This one is worth $2. This one is 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 1. You'll get the money from the bank equal to the spot that your emperor is in. So you basically shake down the e-commerce site. The next is the leisure. When you're in a leisure area, you'll be able to buy new Sakari from the bank, and you can get 2 new Sakari. So you basically start off with 16, I believe it is, and 4 are in reserve, and you can buy them later. The reason you want more Sakari is 1, it means you can put more things out on the map, and 2, it also allows you to score more victory points or influence points at the end of the game, because each one is worth 3. So in this case, this would be 12 points at the end of the game if I didn't use these Sakari, but I had them in my possession. The last building is the green one, the residential. This does nothing in-game. It's only for in-game scoring. And the way that you would score this at the end of the game is if it is carved out for your color, like so. It's carved out from the rest of the map, and your emperor is inside this district, okay? This guy is in here, and he will be able to score 3 points at the end of the game. Each other hex will also be 1 point, but the green ones obviously score more. This one gets 5, this one's 2, 3, 3. So it really matters where you pin down and lock your regions on the map. Now, a couple things to note. The Sakari is your henchman, your muscle man, and he can do things to the board that kind of mess with everyone else's game plan. For example, if you drop a henchman in a residential district, remember, if your emperor is here and you can send orthogonally your Sakari, if you send him to a residential district, it will be destroyed. So these 3 points will not take effect if someone builds a wall here. This will be 0. Okay, they have destroyed it. The other thing is the Sakari can blow up a leisure spot. So if a Sakari goes here and destroys it, that means no one can get new Sakari, no other players, including yourself, can get Sakari from this leisure spot. So it kills it off. There's few of these. There's only 4 in this game, or this setup. So killing 1 is very important. It basically means no one can get Sakari up in this quadrant. The other thing is, if your Sakari is here in the commerce district, he does a shakedown, so he'll get money for you. Okay? And the industry. If he's in the industry building, he'll destroy it, just like the residential and leisure buildings. So the henchmen kind of blow up the map, and they also box in regions so that you can score. The game ends when you've run completely out of Sakari, or if you pass. If you pass, you're out, and then it goes to the next player, and they go until they've run out of Sakari, or they themselves have passed, or their emperor can't move because they're trapped. I don't know why this would happen to anyone, but they're trapped by Sakari, and he's sad. And that's pretty much how you play. At the end of the game, you tally up total influence collected from doing your industrial money laundering conversion and any residential districts that you have under your control. There you have it, a top-down broad view of how Brutus plays. I'm a bit of a Albin VR fanboy. I've played every game of his except Clinic, which is getting reprinted in 2020, so we have that to look forward to. Brutus is very different than his other games. It's short, it's fast-paced, it has some sharp elbows in that you're kind of carving out the city for yourself, but also trying to put your Sakari in places that could potentially trap an opponent's emperor. That emperor can still move within the district and, cut off more tighter sections of the city to maybe cut you out of points that you potentially have access to. So there's kind of like balance between using your Sakari for securing a city for yourself or a district with residential areas, but also securing your victory by preventing other players from being able to make moves. So if, for example, you see there is another player's emperor wanting to move north and south, you could potentially on your turn move in a way that allows you to be parallel to them, and then you can move your Sakari in a way that blocks them. So they can't move forward through the Sakari, they have to go, east-west now. And I like that. There's that kind of tension and dance built into the way that people are placing their Sakari. I also like that the Sakari end up being able to be your henchmen in a way that allows you to manipulate the board state. So you could send them out to destroy residential areas or industrial areas. They just go there and destroy it, and no emperor, including yourself, can ever go there to collect, to convert money or money launder, turn your money into points, influence, or in the case of a residential, score points at the end of the game. You can also destroy the leisure buildings with your Sakari, which is great because when you do so, you end up blowing it up, so no one else can buy Sakari from that place. This whole space of the whole game is very tactile. I spoke with Albin before, and it hasn't happened in my games, but he did say that you could basically end up losing the game in the first 5 turns, maybe fewer, because you haven't realized that someone has already been placing their Sakari in a way that locks a residential area for you, but meantime they're playing a different game where they think they're going to, score big points in another area, but you've already locked this area down by keeping your emperor penned in this region with the residential buildings. I would like to play this a lot more to see how that advanced tactic can be played out. I've played this about 4 times now, and each game has been different than the previous one. It behooves you to play it with the same people more than once, so you kind of can get used to the layout. It is modular. These pieces are modular, so you can actually, change the way that the district is each game. But what I mean in terms of like repeated plays, it helps you to kind of play with the same group so you have a meta of what people might be doing and you can kind of counteract their scheme. So if you have one guy who happens to be a big fan of laundering money through the industry and also collecting revenue from the commercial district, then maybe you'll want to destroy the best ratio industry. That way he can't do that anymore, or at least when he's doing it, he's getting fewer in-game victory points or influence points. Because like for here, it's $3 for 2 influence, but there's one on here that's 2 for 1. So it'd be better to hurt him that way. The things that I didn't talk about is that there's an alternate rule that the emperors can have special powers, which give them kind of bonuses for collecting money or a conversion ratio when they're doing money laundering. I haven't really played with that a lot. I wanted to just experience the base game where you're just moving your emperor orthogonally and dropping off your Sakari orthogonally and then collecting your revenue for any commercial buildings that you are currently located in. So I guess that's about it. My feelings for the game are that it is a very different Albin game. If you're looking for the normal Albin brain burning game, like of tramways where every decision is super difficult and probably a little stressful, like in tramways when you're doing your bidding to take a turn order, you know, that can be very stressful for the player, but there isn't a lot of stress here. It's actually like a relaxing Albin game. If these pieces were a little smaller, I'd say you could probably play it at a restaurant while waiting for food because it's that quick. However, it is a little large and takes a little bit of table space, and you're going to have like 20 pieces each for your Sakari, so maybe not ideal for a dinner game, but certainly a game that you can play at any cafe. It's a great filler, I think. So if you have time to spare while waiting for a friend to show up because they're stuck in traffic, you can play a couple rounds of this and they show up and then you do whatever. Or you continue playing this. I'm going to be backing it on Kickstarter because, like I said, I'm an Albin fanboy. Yeah, hopefully you do too. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. I'm on Twitter as so_yuck, Y-U-C-K, yuck. And I'm in the Facebook group, so you can find me around there. Just search for my name. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'm Chris, and this is Playing With Yourself.